Hi, this is Tom Mura from World Class Coaching with another of our weekly animated drills. This week I want to talk about a 5-goal game that I've used for many different purposes over the years. It's a great format that I use quite a bit, and the players really enjoy it. So I thought I'd show it to you first without the players, just to make it easy to kind of see the format. A question I often get is, how big is the playing area? And this one, I think more than most, it really fluctuates depending on what it is you're trying to accomplish, the age group of your team. And so what I'll do is I'd say I put this generally between the halfway line and the top of the box of whatever size field we're playing on. So if we're playing 7v7, then that space is going to be relevant to the players and relative to the player's age and ability level. So that's an easy way to set it up. If you're on an 11v11 field, that's going to be a bigger space, but you're going to have more players, older players. They're going to need more space, so you can set it up relative to that. If you want to accomplish something specific, say fitness, then you'll make this area bigger and require a lot more movement. If you want to make it more technical and more under pressure, then you're going to make it smaller. So it really can vary depending on what you're trying to accomplish. As far as the size of the goals, again, I go probably between 3 yards and 5 yards, depending on the topic. So we've got the area set up here. And so now what we'll do is we'll just put our players back in this space here. So I generally play this as a 6v6 exercise. If we go much higher than that, then I'll start to add neutral players. So if we've got, say 14 players, we might play this game with 2 neutrals to give the attacking team the advantage. And the goal of the exercise is to get the ball through the goal. Now, depending on what you're working on, depending on if this is a warm-up or if it's a small-sided game of a certain progression that you want to work on a specific topic, then it depends on how you want to score. So what I'll say in the beginning is score however you can get the ball through the goal. So the players have the choice of finding a teammate. They can make a pass here. And we're using our Planet training software here, so I can turn that into a pass, and we'll make it so that he takes a shot or pass through that goal. So we can say that that's a goal for the black team if they're able to complete that. We could also say that it's not a completed goal. It's not going to earn that team a point unless they complete a pass to a player on the other side. So you can just let them score without it actually being important if there's a player there. And if the other team wins it, well, then they go on with their attack and try to score. But if you want to emphasize support, then you can emphasize that by saying you've got to have a player make that run into the space. If they don't make that run into the space behind the goal to complete that combination, then the goal doesn't count. And that's an important feature of this activity, is that the goals are set on the inside of the playing area so that you can use both sides of the goal in order to score. And a goal can be scored from either side of the goal, not just coming from the middle to the outside, but a player can make a run down the outside and make a pass through the middle. So, and another thing I'll do with this is I'll say, okay, the outside goals are going to be worth 1 point. The inside goal may be worth 3 points or 5 points. And that's going to put the emphasis for the defending team, to push the play to the outside. So if that's something that I want them to focus on, then I'll make that part of the rule structure. As I use this with teams over and over and we kind of build up the rules, then they'll understand the different rules and they'll want them in place. So, maybe we did defending one practice and we made that middle goal extra points, then they want that for future games because that's something that they're used to. So we'll kind of layer it in over time so that eventually players can dribble through the goal, they can pass through the goal to a teammate. Another rule that I like is that not only do you have to complete that through the goal, but then you have to have a player support afterwards so that you have to at least complete the give and go, if you will, through the goal and then around the goal. So again, we're focusing on supporting the pass that we make, not just passing and admiring the beauty of our pass, but making a pass that connects to another player and then supporting that pass. So that would actually be a dribble line, wouldn't it? So we'll change him back. That would be a run line there. So he passes through here to a player that's run into the space, passes back to that player, and then they carry on. Now, an important rule is that the same goal can't be scored in twice in a row. So the players can't just stay here and play give and goes through this one goal. They've got to switch the play. And obviously in this game, you're going to want to switch the play because as you attack one goal, that's going to draw the pressure of defenders, which is going to open up space in other goals. When we first start playing this, it's a very non-directional game because any team can score in any goal. What I've done here, I've shown that you can make the goals specific colors. So you could say, for example, okay, black team, you're going to defend the yellow goals. And yellow team, you're going to attack the yellow goals. And so by doing that, now we turn this game without changing the format or changing the setup of it. We turn it into a directional game where we've got one team attacking one end and one team attacking the other. So, now we've kind of moved it on to be a bit more game-like. Again, we've got this middle goal still, but both teams can attack that middle goal. So maybe we'll say that middle goal can only be scored on a through ball, a through ball to a player running on the other side. So kind of working on that penetrating pass. Or we can say that's only a dribble through goal, so you've got to beat somebody 1v1 or 1v2 to get through that goal, and that will then open up opportunities to find passes because you're going to draw a lot of pressure there. So as you can see from my description, there's tons that you can do with this really basic setup. I think it's a fantastic game. The players really enjoy it. A lot of flexibility with it depending on what you want to use it for. And I think it makes it so that you don't have to re-explain your game format over and over. You can say, we're playing the 5-goal game, but today you have to have a combination after you score. And then that's really easy for them to understand because they've played the 5-goal game before, so you don't have to re-explain all of the rules that surround that game. You can just focus on the one part of the topic that you really want to emphasize. So try this with your teams. Leave a comment in the section below on how it works. Thanks a lot.